This is part 2 with our plant-based ophthalmologist, Dr. Lucky. I want to ask you another question. So when someone comes to you, how much do you incorporate, working with them on their diet?
Yeah.
How do you marry your worlds for your patients?
No, it's a good question. Terrah, I work at the county. The county is very busy. We have a lot of folks who are underserved. I have a lot of refugees. I have a lot of people who have a hard time making changes. So I'll usually give as much of a talk as I can because there's a lot of patients that need to be seen. But I'll give them my resources. If I feel like there's somebody who's especially motivated, I'll give them my email as well. They can always reach out to me. And the nice thing is actually, surprisingly, County, which is a public hospital, has cooking classes. And some of them are actually starting to focus on plant-based, which I think, again, I feel like we're fighting. Remember, we talked about, this journey of what it's like to be an advocate for so long. I feel like we're fighting a little less every day to put this information to the spaces that really need it. I think people are starting to acknowledge when it comes to diabetes, for example, right? Plant-based nutrition and plant-based dietary patterns have been shown to be the best for those kind of folks, right? I don't have to convince someone, right, to eat that no more compared to what we did a while ago. But it's a challenge. I mean, I don't have a lot of time. The patients don't have a lot of time, right? Folks want to get going. Folks sometimes don't want to hear it. But like I said, I try to give everybody the spiel, right? At least give them an intro. And sometimes, Milton, who's one of my best friends on this planet. Milton and I talk all the time. And the one thing that always strikes me when we talk about is the people that we expect the least to listen to us actually end up being the ones who actually take it to heart.
Wow.
And that's why I used to be like, I think this person I tell everybody I can. Even if they don't want to hear it, I give them a 30-second, 45-second spiel. I have some things written down to hand to them. And, I keep seeing a lot of those folks. That's the beauty of my job, is I see a lot of those folks back a lot, one way or the other. We have a lot of continuity. And you know what I'm saying? Like, to me, in that moment, that's what I do. But outside of work, a lot of my focus is, legislatively on how we can move the needle. So it's not about whether or not someone thinks they should do it. This is the law now, right? So we talked about kids getting access to plant-based dietary options, right? I mean, y'all may have not seen this, but very recently there was a bill that passed the House, and the goal of the bill is essentially to say that saturated fat contained within milk is not included in the USDA's nutritional recommendations. So essentially, as long as it's fat within milk, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't need to be counted. Which, to me, we're all talking about how our kids are affected by what they're eating, right? And studies have shown that kids have a higher risk of childhood asthma when they're consuming dairy, higher risk of eczema, right? Constipation, right? And we know all this, and yet folks are trying to find ways to, manipulate our children's diets just so they can make a buck off of them, right? And especially kids of color, right? Who a lot of times, many of us here, again, I keep saying many of us because we're all folks of color, we didn't even know there were symptoms happening. We couldn't pin it down. And we're all intelligent folks, focus on things. And it's sometimes hard even for us to be like, man, something is not right. And you can't figure out what that is. So imagine telling that to, a 7-year-old who that's their only meal they're going to get in the day, right? That's the only time they're going to get food. And now you got to tell them that they're going to feel uncomfortable eating that food, but they're not going to get food another time. So why do we put all these kids between a rock and a hard place just because we want to make some money off them, right? So I still have to say that the hospital is great. My interaction with the patients is important, but I'm looking for us to start changing the system so that I don't have to keep having as many one-on-one conversations, or more importantly, my patients already are hip to it. They already know what's up before they come to the clinic. So it makes it that much easier to say, all right, the information. How do we get you to the next stage? Yeah. Right. And it starts everywhere.
Because we're up against, what are we up against? Do you think that's ever going to actually happen? Remember when we were traveling, Babette, coming from Europe, and I don't remember where we were, if we were in Italy, wherever it was, and we were just looking at the options of food. And Babette said, it's never going to change because people just like the food that they like. And how are you going to convince all these people all around the world that, or at least even in your own backyard, that this is better for you until you are forced to get off of it, because now you got it.
And I agree with you completely. And not to get cliche, but Stephanie, my partner's grandma, we were talking. They live in Raleigh now. We were talking a while ago, and she was like, when I was young, I never thought racism would go away. And now, she's a little older, right? And I think she has seen so much progress in her life. But even back then, it was such a strange conception to think that we as a society can change. And we changed so much. There's a long way to go. We're nowhere near where we need to be, right? But the fact that we've had some sort of measurable progress to say to folks like, we have moved the needle. We've had great people to lead us. This movement, right, is more than just saving the planet, saving the animals, right? Leveling racial injustice and equity. It's something that benefits us all in so many different ways that it's hard to ignore truth when it's presented to you.
Yeah.
Right. Just like it's wrong to discriminate against someone because of the color of their skin, because of their gender, because of who they are. Right. These same principles, in my mind, at some point, whether or not we want to admit it, are going to become more and more obvious as folks realize there's nowhere else to go. Right. Colon cancer is hitting folks younger and younger. We're seeing diseases, plague our public health system. We're seeing people in all sorts of places wondering, how is climate change getting to where it's getting? Right. And we have a solution in some regard that can have a major impact. The problem is, how do we get people to get there? Right. That's really the $1 million question. And it's going to take all of us. It always takes all of us. It's the same way change happened.
They believe in doctors. People for the most part believe what you guys tell them. If a doctor says it, most of the time they're with it. Anybody else, not so much.
It's funny you say that, though.
I believe that greatly ignorance is what's keeping so many of us on the planet stuck. Ignorance and being misled, being misled.
I like to think about it this way too, Chef Babette, that I always wonder is, someone like you, who so many people look into and look at and say, wow, look at all the great things doing. Think about how many people whose lives you have changed that you will never meet, that you will never know, that will never, ever get the opportunity to tell you thank you. But you have had this impact on even one person's life. To me, I know that probably in my lifetime, I can't change everybody, right? But if I can get a few people, right, to have a couple more birthdays with their family, right, a couple more summer vacations, right, to me, that's progress now than it was how many years ago. And I mean, shoot, I could listen, there's nobody more frustrated than me. Try to be in these meetings with these people telling you that this problem is not a priority, right? Kids can get plant-based milk anytime they want, right? All these nonsensical things they try to tell me. At the end of the day, I have to keep reminding myself that there is some degree of progress happening. And yeah, doctors are important, right? But remember what I talked about the plant-based curriculum. Was it me who convinced all those medical students that this was something worthwhile? Or was it just regular folk living their lives, right?
Yeah.
Living their truth, right? That, to me, right, that is the most powerful thing, is you seeing someone like you and thinking, I could do that. I could do that. That could be me one day.
And I do, I have a restaurant. They come in by the droves telling me how much I've inspired, and I give thanks for being able to inspire.
Of course.
I know too much.
Yeah,
I'm too aware of what is going on. And I do realize no ocean, no us.
No.
And there's a lot going on. It's much deeper than just eating a burger. It goes so much deeper than just eating a burger. We really need to understand our connection and the decisions that each and every one of us as humans make.
Right.
There is a consequence to making that decision. 1,000%. And I guess for me being 74, of course, I'd like for it to change rapidly. So I'd see a whole bunch of good stuff before I transition in this human form. Right. But, I guess, I just keep serving my purpose and doing what it is I do and giving thanks for the gift of life and sharing my outcomes.
And it's always an honor to, learn from those who have come before you, right? And be inspired by those who came before you, because my optimistic outward self ain't always optimistic like this. Stephanie, she hears me rail against the world, like, I don't know how many times a day about 45 different things. right? But I don't know. I think you're right. It's just what else am I to do? Well,
just keep doing what you're doing.
That's all we can do.
We are, guys. This isn't on the fringe anymore.
Right.
We're on the fringe anymore. And you really don't know. There's a passage in the Bible where a prophet is saying, God, nobody's supporting me. I'm out here by myself and I need help. I think it was Elijah. And the Lord was like, there's 10,000 that you can't even see. And for us, what we're doing here, we don't know where this goes and how many people see. You can't even go by the clicks and the likes and the shares because you don't know how many people you're impacting. And Babette and I, all three of us were talking earlier about the oneness and how we're all connected. Just the fact that this conversation is happening means it's already resonating in the atmosphere. And so the more we do this and the more we talk about it and the more we give it our energy and our love and our life, the more it's going to resonate with everybody. We may not see it in our physical form, but we're only here. Right. This is not even the most important part of life. This is just this part. So while we're here, we're getting a chance to revel in the excitement of the fact that we can have this conversation and we can talk about this in this way. That's amazing. That's progress.
No,
that's exciting.
It really is.
Yeah. Well, this is, I mean,
he's got to come back.
Yeah. I tried to give you all a little sampler. There was so much I wanted to say that we didn't get to. Yeah.
If you want to say, you want to tell us some more, anything else? Because we can always break it up in 2 parts.
We can always do another day too, because I have kept y'all long enough. I've been on CPT for too long, and I appreciate that you y'all waited with me. But
is there anything that you wanted to get out today that you said, oh, I really wanted to make this point that you don't want to wait till the next time?
No, I think I got everything I wanted to today. I mean, and here's the thing. The conversation with y'all brought out a lot of me I didn't know I had. Things that I haven't really thought about. Even like, I wasn't thinking about Steph's grandma today. I can promise that one. I was thinking about and then she, just having her on my mind the past few days about, talking about change and progress really gets, it gets you in a certain type of mindset. But that's what good conversation does. It brings out the best out of all of us, right?
And let me just ask you one last thing before we go to our last bit of, how has it changed your life? I mean, as far as eating your diet, how has it? Yeah, and slide that. You keep going further and further, either further away. You're getting smaller and smaller.
Right here. I'm gonna stay big. Here. There, good. And I'll really take up the screen. Okay. How has it changed my life? Well, I had mentioned to y'all before in private, but there was a period of time in my life, and I like to use this as yet again another illustration of how difficult it is to know sometimes what's going on in your body. But I was in my teenage years, and I started having some pretty bad intestinal pain. So much so that I had to go see a doctor. And then doctor says, go to a specialist. And then specialist says, go get imaging. Right. And the pain was so bad, they thought I had some serious, real serious conditions because of how much it was bothering me. I was in constant discomfort. My parents were worried. And, they did all the scans, did all the images, and everything came back, generalized inflammation, but nothing specific. Right. And around that time, now this was a couple of years into this, I've been living with this, and the thing about pain is you get kind of used to it, but not in a way that's friendly, right? You get used to this pain so much that you're just bracing every time you feel it. And because of that, I think we sometimes try to live with it instead of getting to the roots of why we're having that pain. Now, we can't always, right? But sometimes being able to dive a little deeper with the right folks helps. And in my case, I think I was just lactose intolerant because I ended up swapping out my diet anyways around that time while I was fighting with my ex-girlfriend at the time. And, it's been 8 years now, and I can't even remember what that pain was like.
Wow.
And I went through, and remember, I am a well-educated, privileged young man with a good access to the healthcare system. And all that, images, money spent, time, right? And yet we couldn't figure out what was going on with me. And it was the simplest change in my lifestyle. Imagine how many young Black, brown girls and boys there are who are feeling all sorts of symptoms that they can't explain, whose parents unfortunately don't know either because, again, the system has indoctrinated everybody so much into trying to have certain types of foods, even if it's against, how we are made. right? We talk about lactose intolerance a lot, but let's be really honest, right? We talk about it as if it's a disease, but really the ability to have lactose is itself a mutation, right? The majority of those in the world who are folks that call it, the majority of the world does not have lactose because we're not meant to have it, but we still have it. We still have it. And we deal with the consequences. Like you said, Chef, I bet there's a consequence to every action. And unfortunately, a lot of our kids aren't even able to make that decision. Right. And I always, and that's why whenever I've gone to school lunches, I've eaten like a 7th or 8th grader. I stood in the lunch on my little lunch tray with the kids recently, and talked to the people who make the school lunches. And I just can't help but remember me in my teenage years grappling with this uncomfortability and how simple of a solution it was.
Wow.
And nobody had even thought about it.
That's deep.
Nobody had even thought about it.
Well, most people don't associate, what's going on physically with the pain that you're eating. They just don't. Yeah. It's just either I'm aging now, this is what's going to happen.
Right.
And some of it is true,
So of course, yeah.
But we can go on. But
no, I mean, I saw this woman, Chef Babette. Man, I don't know if y'all were there at Brooklyn Veg Fest doing push-ups on stage. If I told you, man, I wish I could have recorded that video and showed it to every single one of my patients and said, "How old do you think she is?" I wish I could have done that.
It's on. She has many videos on YouTube of her doing push-ups on Terrah Hall so you can find it.
I'm now I will find it. I mean, I'm an old man at heart. I mean, me and the internet.
But as you said what you said, I can remember, and I'm gonna wrap this up real quick. I can remember when I was suffering so much with the asthma and everything. My mother literally took carpets off of the floor because she felt like it was the dust and stuff and the dander from the cats in the carpet. She put linoleum in my bedroom to help me with the asthma. And she smoked L&Ms and would blow the smoke in your face. So talk about ignorance.
It's true. It's true. It's easy to miss these things.
I had severe allergies, like where my nose would bleed just on a regular basis. Constantly, I would sneeze and bleed and sneeze. Yeah. And then when I met my cute guy, George Riddick, if you're out there,
Terrah ain't forget about you.
No, because it changed my life because the moment I cut out at that point was just
all of it went away.
Just the meat.
Yeah.
My allergy, all that bleeding and sneezing was gone.
Wow.
And I was like, holy crap, I never had it since then. And
nobody at home could help you with that.
Nobody even knew. I didn't even know.
And the other thing about it that's interesting is, a lot of times we're talking about food in like a long-term sense, right? How it affects your body in long term. But there's studies, I mean, they'll hook people up to fancy machines and they'll look at their bodies right after eat like a heavy fast food meal. And your body reacts like that. Mm-hmm. This isn't like, I'll see you in 20 years kind of problem. This is your body's reacting like that. And you're doing it 3 times a day, every day, 7 days a week, 365. I mean, your body is going to change because of it.
Yeah. But you guys make me think about something that I took for granted. How my mother had and my grandmother, very, very Native American in terms of how we ate and in terms of how they treated sickness and all of that. My father, West Indian. So we started as kids with like the cod liver oil and the garlic and like all this mindset of don't go for the drug, go for the herb. Don't go for the drug, go for the tea. Don't go for the mama's gonna make you this or grandma's know what half of that stuff was. And I'm sure a bunch of it was just, it's that mindset that, that indigenous and that Western, that mindset of we're going to the earth.
Going to the herbs first. Wow.
Now, we still have Tylenol in the house. I'm not saying.
No, of course. Yeah. But there's a blend. Right.
But that they put that in us. And so and I never thought about it because when you grow up with something, you think everybody's like that.
You think everybody does it. You think that, but still, just like you said about that, like the sort of the dichotomy was my mom built our meal around the meat. Right.
The meat first. And everything else was
everybody does. Yeah. And the scary thing is everybody is getting there. Like the rest of the world looks at America and says, I want me a piece of that. So China, you look at India, right? What's happening? More diabetes, more heart disease, more rates of cancer, right? Folks are catching up to the US in the wrong ways.
Right.
And you know what's funny is we're getting to this point now where I think my hope is a lot of us, we all talk about decolonizing your diet because it's really true, right? Looking back at ancestral dietary patterns, I think does have benefit because you have to look at what were folks eating before a Western way of life came in, right? And change things up. And really, I mean, I'm fortunate, right? My culture still has a lot of plants, a lot of fruits and veggies, a lot of plants in our diet naturally, right? That we make in our curries. But a lot of folks, if you look back a couple generations and see what people were eating, right? It was nothing like this. And the second folks started changing, it was like that, right? Completely different people. And it's not even one or two places. I can point to how many different places across the world, right? I mean, like you said, ancestral roots has a role in kind of figuring out what were our ancestors eating before. And I'm not talking about, cavemen fighting people. I'm talking just a couple of generations, not even 2 or 3 generations ago, what were people eating back then? And I promise you, especially from, when you look at places around the world that have, lush forests, right? Great places to grow, lots of areas to grow all these types of plants. They did not eat like this, right? Hunter-gatherers failed hunting most of the time. Who was doing all the work? It was the women gathering all these, tubers and all these different things for the family, for the tribe to eat. And, you said a lot, ignorance is a great way to propel, right? The wrong thing. And unfortunately, folks just need to realize that look a little further back, look at the real roots of what we're doing, and you see the results. You'll see it in a month. I don't even have to sell you on it, Do it, come back in a month, get some blood work, and then we'll see how you look. And I promise you'll be doing better. You'll be doing better.
Wow. I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to break this up.
You have to break, but
you have to break us up.
You know what?
Break it up into 2 segments.
I thought you meant that we were done. I was like, I didn't want to leave you all.
We are going to be done, but I'm getting ready to do a cooking class for those people that are right now my age, a little bit younger than myself, on all these weird medications, blood thinners. Right. And I just talked to an ex-sister-in-law and I said, look, we're going to do 30 days.
Yes.
You're going to do complete raw with juicing. I'm going to help you eat everything that you eat. Right. And we'll see what happens in 30 days. So
no, that's the way to do it. That's the way I especially tell the men that because the men don't believe me.
Right.
And I said, you give me 30 days.
30 days.
30 days. And if you look at me in those 30 days and you say, I hate you, doctor. Like, I hate everything you did to me. Fine, I'm going to let it go. But we both know. Yeah.
They're going to be very happy in one department.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they sure
You will be working again.
Yeah, that's right. They got a whole movie about that, I heard. So
especially when you start getting certain age, the plumbing is clogged up.
That's right.
And women are not happy. So we might want to fix all that. But this has been this can go on forever and ever and ever and ever. But I love the fact that, that it's really a correlation between what you're putting in and what you're seeing.
Definitely.
And if you want to see for a long time, you got to pay attention and remember that they go together. It's not carrot.
That's right. Eat to see. That's what I tell folks. Eat to see. Eat to see.
Eat to see. I like that.
Right.
So, what do you tell people who think, oh, it's too late, I'm already having problems, I've already had this diagnosis, like it doesn't matter for me now? What do you say to those folks?
It's never too late.
Oh, baby, the human body is intelligent.
It's never too late.
Give it love.
Your body has so much resilience, and you just got to give it the right things.
Give it love.
No matter how late it is, if you can give yourself even a little more, benefit, a little more juice, metaphorically, right? I mean, what are we talking about, right?
That's it.
And the problem is, again, I think folks were losing hope because so much has been beating us down for so long. And that's kind of why I tell folks, here's something that you can focus on. Like, let's make this your thing, not my thing, your thing, right? And my hope is, for some people that gives them a little more, energy, pep in the step, get them through their day. And then, people are able to say, you know what, I did that. I made that change. And
if it's hard for you to do it by yourself, get a change partner.
Oh, get a partner, get a community, find people. I mean, you'd be surprised how many people there are on there. I mean, and we're all connected by the internet one way or the other. There's so many wonderful resources that take access of. You just need to be pointed in the right direction. And, and I'm done talking, I promise. I'm reminded by how many people I've met that stumbled on this. You know what I'm saying? That just a YouTube video played that wasn't going to play, right? And to me, that's a travesty, because I think about how many people never got that chance, right? How many people never really got the opportunity to make that change or be told about it, and their life went the way it did, you know? Yeah. But, you know, give people all the chances they can to change.
I have the question about the book. Terrah, can I ask that question, or you can ask?
So, no, I don't know.
You've had time to think about it.
No, I thought about it. I still didn't come up with an answer, Sylvia. That's
Let's see what comes. Whatever you spurt out, like, and whatever you just
okay,
spurt it out.
Okay.
So here we go.
Oh no!
If you pick a book title, and maybe you're about to title your book,
right?
Maybe, I don't know, right? Your real book that's going to come out.
That's about co-author with Sylvia. Right.
Yeah. Hey, don't play. Look, I do all the ghostwriting for real, so don't play. But so a book that would be the title. What would that title be if it's this last week, this last year, your whole life? Like, if you could put a title of your book of your life, what is that? What is that book?
Oh shoot. Y'all. All right. Let me think. All right. So I got something with roots in it, right? So I'm thinking, you know, roots of change, building a healthy
I love that.
Something like that. Roots of change, building a healthy home. Oh, seeds of
the title of your book?
No, I got it. Seeds of justice. That right. I like that.
But even the roots of change, I love that too, because before you said that, I was thinking I see change, and you said the roots of change.
There's no such thing as a coincidence. There's no such thing as a
right.
Or
okay, tell me. Eat the seed. Yeah, I mean, but that's not my life. That's not my life. That's like
that kind of is, because it's not just the physical seed.
Oh, you're right. Knowledge. Oh, y'all see.
It's eat to see.
What would I do without y'all? What would I do?
Yeah. So now you have 3 book titles. So
I got 3 book titles.
Book number 2 and book number 3.
And y'all will be all part of them. I'm gonna make sure in no way, shape, or form.
Absolutely. Well, this has been.
Thank you.
I had a great time, y'all.
I didn't even want to end, so that's why when you said, "Can we reschedule?" I was like, "Absolutely not."
Well, we kept it going too. We added a couple in. Yeah.
Stay awake, and then I'm gonna break, because normally our show's an hour, but when we start sending, because we can only do an hour on.
I hear you. But
we can break this up and make it 2 different.
Most definitely, and we can do more. There's so much more to talk about.
Yes.
Yeah. No. I'm just here to. I like showing up to things and talking, and then I have this problem. I'll say something, and somebody's like, "What was that?" I'm like, I don't know what I just said. I just said it. It's gone. It's gone.
Do you go? So you go places and speak, like if people.
Yeah, I like going to Veg Fest, meeting folks, getting to know their communities. I do some work with Switch for Good.
Just as they say, accent.
That's it. I'm just here to talk.
You just caught it, Sylvia. You just caught it. Okay, we'll talk about it later.
Okay.
Anyway,
I'm not hip.
No.
Yeah.
But anyway, we always end our show with, we go around and everybody says, "You'll be the last person, Sylvia."
Of course.
I'm first?
Yeah, you're always first.
All right. Well, you guys, we love you so much. Thank you for being here. And remember, nobody can do you better than you.
Doc?
No, Doc is last.
Okay.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
You going, Sue? I mean, Babette?
You're going.
Remember, y'all, there's nobody can do you better than you.
That's right. Nobody can do you better than you.
All right, y'all. There's nobody that can do you better than you.
Hey!
Thank you for coming. Where can we find you, Dr. Lucky?
Hit me up on Instagram, dr.luckymd. And if you need anything else, I'm sure you can always hit up Terrah and she can get you connected to me too.
No, don't hit me up.
Just don't hit up Terrah. Hit me up on Instagram. Y'all.
Right. So, and do you have a website?
I don't know what that's too much work. I'm gonna do it eventually. One day, I'm gonna find somebody to do it for
You know what? If you need Dr. Lucky, go to SundayBitesAndTidbits@gmail.
There you go.
Send us a message, and we'll make sure he gets it.
That's right. That's right. See, as complicated as possible to get to me.
Well. Also, I don't want the women trying to hit me up to my doctor.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You better be. I'm about to get beat up if you don't stop right now.
I don't want to be responsible, and I don't want to be a part of it.
I love that
because I know Stephanie, and I loved her. She was wonderful, and I'm not going to be a part of nobody's stuff.
She is my better half. That's right.
Better half. She's a vegan.
Yep. She actually became vegan after we met.
Okay, well there you go.
Okay. I got last thing. My best part of relationship advice to y'all, right? Yeah. Don't look about where somebody is now. Look how they'll grow with you, right?
Yeah, we were just talking about that.
Just talking about it.
Just talking about the growth and how necessary it is to sustain.
True.
And so with that said, Dr. Lucky, thank you so much for joining us, ladies.
Thanks, y'all.
This has been wonderful. Make sure y'all tune in and watch more Sunday Bites and Tidbits as we bring you some more wonderful guests.
Make it happen.
Bye, y'all.